Good boss YouTube, Elmas here, and I have for you guys today another replay with the same team that I used in my previous upload, which I hope you guys don't mind. I'm not too sure when this will be going up. I don't know if I'll still be in New York or maybe it'll be like the day after I come back, but just if you missed my update video, then you will know why this is kind of going on. If you guys could go check out the update video, I would greatly appreciate that. At this point, it's probably like a week or so old, but everything as far as I know is still going to be up to date, and just yeah, check that out and you guys kind of get caught up with what's going on. Yeah, that's really all. Of course, if you guys do enjoy the replay, make sure to show off your support, hit the like button down below. As for a question of the day for you guys, in your opinion, what is the biggest threat in NU right now? I would actually really like to know that, because I myself do not know, just because I really haven't been playing much NU recently, or any of the tiers at all. So yeah, let me know, in your opinion, what is the biggest threat in NU? Comment that down below in the comment section. Below? No? I still need to learn English, so hopefully you guys don't mind. But yeah, if you guys would like the team that I'm using, I did get this from an RMT. I did make one change, however. This used to be a Tangela, but I like Garbodor because I like spikes and T-spikes. So a link to that RMT will be down in the description. You guys can use your own version of the team as well if you would like to. But yeah, looking at my opponent's team, he has some pretty scary threats. First off, mainly the first humongously huge scary threat I noticed was Electivire, because in the RMT itself, if this is mixed Electivire, it 6-0s this entire team. If he has Cross Chop, I think this Audino gets is it O-Code or 2-Code? I'm not sure, but they typically tend to carry Flamethrower, so this gets O-Code. If it has Earthquake, this gets O-Code, Cross Chop, Hidden Power Grass, Wild Charge, Volt Switch, Thunderbolt. So yeah, this was easily the scariest thing going into this battle. Not to mention that Swallow is also kind of a problem to my team, because even though, yes, I do have Garbodor and Ferroseed, with the proper predictions, this thing can still tear my team apart. Also, if I lose my Flareon and this turns out to be like Modest Specs, Fire Blast, Pyroar, Audino gets 2 KO'd, and not even Quagsire is going to appreciate a Modest Choice Specs Fire Blast coming from a Pyroar. So yeah, mainly Electivire and Swallow were the two main things I was going to worry about. As long as I had Flareon, this really shouldn't be a problem. Weezing is kind of a nuisance to my team, just because if I can't burn it, or if I lose Zatoot, it does kind of stall my team out to an extent. So that is more of a nuisance as opposed to a threat. And then Mesprit, just kind of Mesprit. If it's expert belted with Energy Ball, I guess it can kind of be a problem, but besides that, I'm not really too concerned about what Mesprit wants to do to me. And then Cryogonal is kind of just Cryogonal, just doesn't really do anything. So yeah, let's get this started. So he's going to be leading off with Mesprit, as I'm going to be leading off with my Quagsire. I end up switching directly on out into my Zatoot, 1, thinking he would go for Energy Ball, and 2, thinking he may want to go for Stealth Rocks, thinking I wouldn't want to switch. But he ends up going for the U-turn. As he U-turns into Cryogonal, I can just make a safe switch into my Flareon, expecting him to not want to go for the Toxic if he does carry it, just because why would you Toxic a Zatoot? So I get a free switch into my Flareon, and then I'm going to double switch into my Zatoot, expecting him to bring in Weezing, and then I'm going to predict him to bring in Mesprit, predicting me to want to go for the Psychic or the Psyshock, and I'm going to go for the Signal Beam, but he ends up making the safe switch into Cryogonal, which really wasn't all that safe, just because if I did have Psyshock, I could have got off a huge hit on him. But at this point, I'm going to switch into my Audino, expecting him just to want to go for the Ice Beam instead of switching into my Flareon, on the off chance that he wanted to pull a double switch into Swallow or Electivire or something along those lines. As I can safely go for a knockoff, I knock off the incoming Mesprit, which is really good for me, as it turns out that he is Scarfed, and he's going to end up going for the Trick again, which is a little bit questionable just because he boosts my knockoff again. So I'm going to go for that now, because I really have no reason to go for the Protect, as right here he ends up luring me very well, and he turns out to have Stealth Rocks, which I was not expecting at all. I don't know why, but at the time, him having rocks on a Scarf Mesprit did not at all cross my mind. And now he has rocks up for the remainder of the battle, and you're going to see that those are going to be very annoying for me to deal with, as he is just going to decide to fodder off his Mesprit here. I'm not too sure why. However, though, he unfortunately gets a Spadef drop, which is going to kind of entice me to make some unnecessary plays, which is a tad bit annoying. And if you hear my son, he was kind of banging on the door, so I let him in here. Hey, go to the... Well, yeah, because there's nothing going on right now. But yeah, he ends up tricking as I bring back in my Audino, and then I'm going to be able to knock him out with another knockoff, which is good for me because now I don't have to worry about Mesprit. But unfortunately, he does get a free switch into Electivire, as the best switch-in that I have right now is my Quagsire. And I'm kind of worried that he has the Hidden Power Grass, so I believe I do just switch. No, okay, I stay in. Okay, hold on. Actually, that was kind of a risky play on my part, because if he did have HP Grass, he would have been able to knock me out. Hi! Hey! So Laura just got home, so she's watching Javier. Sorry about that. Anyways, I think I was saying that it was really risky for me to stay in, because if he did have Hidden Power Grass, he could have been able to knock me out, but I guess at the time of the battle, it didn't cross my mind, or maybe I don't know. That was really risky, honestly, because I should have definitely switched out there. Probably into my Xatu or my Flareon, if anything. But hey, in the long run, it kind of helps me out because I'm able to scald the incoming Weezing. However, though, I don't burn him, but I get even more unlucky. As I bring my Xatu, he poisons me with Sludge Bomb, which is a little bit annoying because at this point I'm pretty much forced to leave in Xatu, and really the only move I can go for is Psychic, and I know he's going to bring in Cryogonal, so I have no choice but to just leave it in here for Death Fodder at this point in the match, as I can get a free switch into my Flareon, and I'm just going to be aggressive. I'm going to go straight for the Flare Blitz, because if you look at his team, nothing really wants to switch in. As you see there, I still did a pretty solid chunk of damage to the Weezing, as I decided to be aggressive because, as I said, Weezing is not a threat to my team, it's just really annoying. So expecting him to want to go for the Sludge Bomb as opposed to going for a Pain Split, I just stay in and I go straight for the Flare Blitz, as he does end up going for the Sludge Bomb and poisoning me again. But it's fine though, because I'm going to kind of pay him back here, as I'm going to be able to crit him with the Flare Blitz. Now I don't have Guts, so that crit did matter unless 32% was a min roll, then unless I got a high damage roll, then the crit didn't matter. But either way, I'm able to get rid of the Weezing as he revenge kills me with the Swallow. I can now bring in my Garbodor, and I was very close to bringing in Pharisee, but ultimately, if I can't get rid of his Cryogonal, I think it'd be more beneficial to have Rocks as opposed to Spikes, just because he does have Swallow. So I decided to bring in Garbodor, knowing that I should be able to live any one hit, and in return, as long as I hit Gunk Shot, I should be able to knock him out. Plus, if you look at his team, nothing wants to switch into a Gunk Shot. Even though I don't have any attack investment, it's still a very hard hitting move. So ultimately, Garbodor was my best switch in. As I take the Facade, I'm going to be able to bring him in range where the Burn will be able to knock him out, which is really good for me as it brings in the Electivire. I do want to save my Garbodor for Death Fodder later in the battle, as you'll see. As he ends up Earthquaking my Quagsire, I know that I will be able to live another one as long as he doesn't crit me, which thankfully he doesn't, and I'm going to be able to recover back up to a solid amount of HP, to the point where if he does crit me with Earthquake now, I know I can take the hit. And then he ends up going for the Ice Punch. I really don't know why, unless he was trying to freeze me, thinking I would go for the recover, because that was a really questionable play on his part, because Electivire is pretty much useless to him now, as I'm going to recover up this turn as he brings in the Cryogonal, because I don't want to burn Cryogonal. What I need to do to beat this Cryogonal one-on-one is to Toxic it, because this Cryogonal is actually a really big nuisance to my team right now, especially because Pharisee does not carry Gyro Ball. So he's going to Toxic my Audino as I go for the Wish, and he's going to bring in the Electivire basically as Death Fodder, because after Wish I can just go for Protect, because I really lose nothing in doing so. Plus, I really don't want to risk him having cross chop, or knocking me out with the Wild Charge, as I'm brought up to a solid amount of HP. He does now get a free switch into his Pyroar, which I lost my Flareon. So this Pyroar is actually a giant, terrifying threat, but this is why I decided to save Garbodor, because now I can see if he wants to lock himself into Hyper Voice or lock himself into Fire Blast or Flamethrower. Then again, he could be Flame Plate or Expert Belted, but at this time, I was banking on him being Choice Specs as opposed to Expert Belt or Flame Plate, and he's going to be able to knock me out with the Flamethrower. And here I can either bring in my Quagsire or I can bring in my Audino. Ultimately, I decided to bring in my Audino just because I thought that I could take 2 Specs Flamethrower, sorry. No, that is not at all the case, because I did lose my leftover, so I'm going to be forced to switch out here after going for the Heal Bell, bringing in my Quagsire, which will be able to easily take this hit, which is really good for me. And now I'm in a scenario where I can either go for the Earthquake or I can go for the Scald, and I think I do just end up going for the Recover, just on the off chance that I do have to take a Hyper Voice later in the battle with my Cryogonal, with my Quagsire, as I'm going to switch into my Ferroseed here, hoping that he would stay in, or even if he switches out, to be honest, that doesn't matter, because if I Toxic Pyroar, that's pretty much an easier way for me to beat it one-on-one. And the fact that he stayed in is actually really risky, because I could have had Gyro Ball and I could have possibly knocked him out, as I get really unlucky, and not only does he crit me, but I miss my Leech Seed. Now, honestly, that turn was really annoying, but in the long run of the battle, it's not game-changing in the slightest, just because you'll see what I mean. But I could have definitely taken another Ice Beam, I think, after the Leech Seed recovery, then got on my rocks and forced him to Rapid Spin, which means he would have taken Iron Barbs damage, Toxic damage, and Leech Seed damage, as I just spammed Stealth Rocks. So yeah, that was a little bit annoying, which means it is going to be a little bit harder to beat this Cryogonal and Pyroar, but again, it's not changing in the long run of the battle. As I bring in my Audino here, the worst he can do to me is Toxic me, but he's actually going to stay in and just go for the Ice Beam. He gets a crit. Thankfully, he does not freeze me. As I go for the Wish, he's going to predict me to go for the Protect here, but I decide to be aggressive, and I go for the knockoff on the off chance that he wanted to go for the Recover, expecting me to go for Protect, as I gain my health almost all the way up. At this point, Pyroar cannot beat me one-on-one, which means as long as I do not run out of knockoffs and he doesn't crit me 2 turns in a row, and I misplay in between those 2 crits, like not going for a Wish, then there is literally no chance that this Pyroar can beat me one-on-one, as I'm getting kind of lucky with knockoffs, and I crit him, I think, 2 or 3 times in a row, but I still would have had enough knockoffs to deal the damage that I needed to do to still beat Pyroar one-on-one, so those crits really don't matter at all, in my opinion, as he is just, there's not really much to say at this point, because he's just trying to do whatever he can. I guess he's trying to flinch me down with Dark Pulses, but he doesn't get a single flinch except near the end of the battle, as I knock off the incoming Cryogonal. If you really wanted to, you could have definitely gone for the Recovery here, but really that wouldn't have gained him any momentum or changed the outcome of this battle. Just kind of would have dragged it out a little bit longer, because at this point, I've pretty much won the game. There's nothing that he can do to beat me, and it's just a matter of when I'm going to win. So yeah, I'm going to skip these next couple of turns, because it's just kind of me playing safe and just kind of spamming knockoff. And he does get a flinch on one of the Dark Pulses after that. I knock him out with the knockoff, and that is the very narrow 1-0 victory in my favor. So yeah, very lengthy battle. All in all, still thought it was a pretty solid game. Hopefully you guys did enjoy, and if you did, then you know what to do. Make sure to show off support, hit the like button down below. And with that being said, I will see you all in a few days again, potentially with a Showdown live, most likely. And just, yeah, thank you again, guys, for sticking with me through all this not consistent uploading, and just, yeah. Hopefully you guys did enjoy, and with that being said, I will see you all soon. I don't have an outro. My mouth is really dry, because I just, yeah, anyways, later, everybody.